Welcome back to the Boondocks Homestead, y'all. I'm glad you're back, and if this is your first time to our channel, I am so glad that you're here. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the pantry, and I got you back in here. I got the windows. I keep those blocked out or blacked out. It's to keep it dark in here, and I've got the air, in here to keep it cool. We live in a very small home, no basement, there is a crawl space, but I wouldn't put my food down there. No basement, no cellar or anything. So we took a very small extra bedroom, and I turned it into a pantry. So this is where I put all of the canned foods, the potatoes, squash that I bring out of the garden because I have shelves back there behind the camera, and just put different things in here, and I keep it cool. I put my dried foods in here. Which I think I've told you this stuff before, but I just started me another honey and garlic. Okay, this got me through some stuff now. Not saying it would you, but it did me. And so I got that going again. I've got a big one in the refrigerator that's a couple of years old that I'm still working on. But anyway, I just wanted to talk to you for a minute. So I opened those windows so I get a little light in here so y'all could see. What's because it's so dark in here. When I have those curtains, they're blackout curtains. That's what they're called, blackout curtains. And so when I've got them closed, you can't really, it's hard to see in here. But anyhow, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the preserving your foods and getting ready for the winter, because that's what we do, right? We take everything out of our garden, or everything that we harvest, any kind of animal, or anything that we are going to put in a jar, and so we'll get us through the year, right? That's why we do this. Not to make it look pretty on the shelf, although sometimes it does, and that's awesome because you can look at all your work and be like, I did this, but you did it for a purpose, or you should have done it for a purpose, and that is to eat it, okay? So, I have got a variety of stuff on here, you all, and along with the dried stuff, like I told you. And then I still got stuff just stored in here. We just harvested a bunch of sweet potatoes. Go back and watch that video. We got a bunch. I've got them over at the bread shed, and actually they're already hardened off and they're ready. We've been eating them. So they're very, very, very good, and very good for you. We got a few white potatoes, but they kind of failed on us because we got so much rain at the beginning of this year, so much rain of the beginning of the summer, and they rotted in our bags. So it didn't work out for us this year, but it did last year. And I have a video on that if you want to go back and watch that. We show you how to do it in feed sacks. We keep all of our feed sacks that we buy, feed for our goats and our donkey and the chickens and the turkeys. We get so many feed sacks, and they come in use for a lot of different things. But anyway, so preserving our food for the year. This is what they've done forever. Like this is what they did way back when, because this is how they kept food. They didn't get to run to the grocery store every time they needed something. And you may think that, or some of you may think that, well, I'm not going to go to all that trouble because it's just as easy to run to the grocery store and buy it. And maybe a lot of you live in town, which I've told you before is no excuse. You can still grow stuff in town. We had some of the best gardens we ever had and grew in town when we lived in town. We've only been out here 16 years, y'all. And we've only been doing this for 16 years. So, we are living proof that it is possible. And even if you don't know anything, and know how to do stuff, you learn. You learn. And in this day and age, and I'm not trying to be a downer or anything, but I just think that with the price of things going up and everything, and listen, Tim's getting ready to retire. We're going to be on a kind of a fixed income type deal. We're older. It's time for us. It's time for us to do that. But as long as the Lord gives us the health to do this stuff, we will continue on. I'm not saying that I'll be making sourdough bread when if Lord willing, I'm in my 80s, okay? No, I probably won't. I wish I could. I hope I can. I pray that I can if I'm still here. But odds are probably I'm not going to feel like doing that. So then I don't know what I'll do because we may not have stores by then. Who knows? We don't know, what tomorrow brings. The Bible says we have enough troubles in today. We're not to worry about tomorrow. So this is not, I want to make this clear, this is not hoarding. It's not, oh, I'm scared there's going to be a, depression or whatever. This is not why I do this. I do this because, number one, if you've watched our videos enough, you know that I don't like to waste. I don't care if we have the last of the last tomatoes and they look awful. Chris is still going to do something with them because I don't like to waste if nobody else wants them. I can't. Or it's going to go to an animal and it's going to be recycled. You know what I'm saying? So, and that may sound harsh to some of y'all, but listen, we homestead and this is what we do. We grow our food. We are trying to get back to our roots where we can grow what we eat. And you might think this wouldn't save you a lot of money, but I'm telling you, this will save money. This will save money. We do not spend a lot of money on food. Now, we don't have cows, so we do have to buy our beef, and we buy it from a local butcher shop. That's where we get our beef 98.9% of the time. And we don't do hogs anymore, so we're going to be doing that with him also, who we go to. But we do our chickens, we do our turkeys, we do rabbit now. I have rabbit in a jar. Just grab a jar and show you. It's just like chicken. It tastes just like chicken. I know everybody says everything tastes like chicken, but this really, you can't tell a difference. I made rabbit and dumplings and it tasted like chicken and dumplings. I made, what else did I make? A tater tot casserole, and I just opened this up. It's so handy too. If you've been working and you're tired and you don't want to thaw you haven't got anything thawed out, maybe even, you just grab some of this meat off the shelf and you make you a dinner, and there you go. You're done. Okay. So there's a lot of good things about it other than, having this food to get you through the year. So I've got beans, ham and beans. That's a whole meal right there besides my cornbread and maybe some fried potatoes. But hey, I got potatoes in a jar, French fries, but I can cut them up and make potatoes and put them in with whatever, or fry them up and make fried potatoes. I've got soups. I've got not chilies, but I've got chili in a jar. I've got about 6 of those left. This is good chili too, and all I gotta do is pop this thing. The store, you buy it at the store like this. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, I don't want no meat in a can, but you go to the store and you buy it in the can, and it's like, I don't know. So I've got our venison. I can a lot of venison because I've told you this before. It's in my freezer, right? And it's getting ready to be deer season again. So I'm like, okay, I got to make room in the freezer. And this is about to be a year old, so we've got to do something with it. So what are we going to do with it? We're going to can it. That's going to give me several more years of it, okay? And it's not going to get freezer burnt in the freezer, and we're going to eat it. I just take, when I do our deer, I can put the worst, what is this deer? I got my glasses on there on my head. This probably, I don't put my good cuts of venison in a jar. I put the cuts that I know are going to be tougher or whatever. Because when you open this jar of this meat, and this is an old one. It's 24. And you open this up and you take a fork and it's like butter. It's like butter, literally. So we'll take this out. I'll drain it and I'll put barbecue sauce on it. Or I'll fix me up a bunch of vegetables in a pot and then all my seasonings, and I'll make a stew or a soup or whatever I want. You know what I'm saying? The thing about it is you get all the white, the sinew or whatever off your deer before you can it, and it won't have that wild taste, and you'll be able to, it's a good meat. good meat, good for you. Okay, good for you. I do not can like I don't care for wild rabbit, but if I was hungry, I'm telling you, I'd eat it. But I like the tame rabbit better. But the squirrel, I do not. Their bones are too little. I wouldn't even attempt that. Okay. And on the rabbit, I don't do the rib cage. I do not can that. That goes in a pot, and I make rabbit broth, which tastes just like chicken broth. This is rabbit broth. And so that's what I do with the, part of the rabbit, and the parts that I don't put in a jar or freeze. Now I freeze whole rabbits too for frying or whatever, smoking or whatever we're gonna do with it. I've got all of the vegetables. We were blessed with so many cucumbers this year. They did so good in our garden, and we didn't have but one roll or two rolls. We had two rolls of cucumbers, and we got a lot of pickles, or I made a lot of pickles out of them. And then I've got baked beans. These are from, we need to get eating on these. These are from 24. And I made my own baked beans, y'all. You don't, anything they make in the store pretty much you can do at home. And watch some of my canning videos if you're not quite sure how to do it. Get a partner and do it with you. And just be safe. And you can do it. You can do it. Just, you have to be safe and follow. Go get you some ball books. That's like the best thing I ever did, was get some ball books. And it gives you a lot. Now I don't use them very much if it's something I do all the time. But if it's something new that I try, then I will use my ball book. But other than that, I do all my lard. All my lard. I have... this is from our hogs that we no longer do. I'm not saying we won't ever do them again, but probably just do one at a time, I think Tim said, because it's a lot for us, because they're way back in the back of the property, and we have to pack water back and forth, and we're getting older, and we do have side-by-side, but it's when it's 10 below outside, it's a struggle for us. But anyways, this is from this year. This one is, but I've got them go all the way back to the wall. And this, I don't buy grease at the store. I don't buy it. I use what I rendered down, and I have videos on that. Go watch those. Go watch some of those old videos and learn how to do this stuff, y'all. I'm afraid that one day we're gonna need it. And for those young people out there that watch our videos, don't be afraid. Get out there and do it. Now, with that being said, I know a lot of people live in town, and I know some people that live in town they want to get out of town, and but you can have some stuff in town. We know some people right now that have gotten chickens. They live in town, in a neighboring town, and they have just got chickens, and they're fixing to get some rabbits because their town allows them to have so many. And take them up on that and do that. Do that. Number one, you're eating what you grow. You know what's in it, or raise. You know what is in that food. Okay? So do that. I'm getting ready. I've got to do this video, how we got out of debt in a year. We were $40,000 in debt, and we got out of debt in 1 year. And if we can do it, anyone can do it. And I'm going to do a video on that. I'm not a financial advisor by any means, and I know nothing about it. I'm just going to tell you all how I did it. So come back and watch that. I don't think you're going to be like, wow. You're going to be like, wow. Because, I mean, we were like, wow. But anyways, that it can be done. It can be done. And that was our goal. With Tim getting ready to retire, our goal was to be out of debt and to have things set up. He's in the process of putting our wood stove in our house. And we've got a few more things that we want to do before the end of the year. We're going to try to do before the end of the year. But that was our goal, because we're not going to have the finances that we once had. So our goal was to get out of debt so we don't have all that hanging on, over us. And because we don't want to owe anyone before we leave this world, that was another reason for doing that. Probably the biggest one, just not owing people, not being a slave to the lender, like the Bible talks about. So, but anyways, and then I do a lot of seed saving. Right now, I've got only thing left in the garden. I'm sitting here looking at is okra pods, and we're letting them dry, and then I'll have our okra for next year. I didn't save any of the tromboncino squash. I did a video on that. Hold on. I did a video on these, and I was talking about how good, because I had seen, other people grow them and stuff, and how good they were. And so I tried it out. Now, I gave some to my mother-in-law, and I gave one to my son's mother-in-law. And my mother-in-law made bread out of hers and said she liked it better than zucchini. But in the video that I made, I was like, well, everybody says that they don't get squash bugs, right? And I'm like, if that's the case, because ours didn't have any for a long time, and if that's the case, then I will plant these instead of zucchini, because they're supposed to be, very comparable to zucchini. We ended up getting squash bugs, and it ruined pretty much our whole crop. We just couldn't get rid of them. And so I have a few left, and I haven't done anything with them. I picked them really early, and this is what I had left. So the ones I gave away were the real big ones. But that's okay. I may try these and do a video on them. I don't know. But I don't think I'm going to grow them anymore. I think I'm done with those. But anyways, so I didn't save any seeds out of them. Another good thing, now I sprout. I do like broccoli sprouts and mung beans and alfalfa, different sprouts. And we do that. I do it in a thing and put it underneath the grow light or in the window in the kitchen during the summer because of the humidity. And then in the winter, I do them in jars, and we eat the little sprouts. And that is healthy for you too. And that's just another thing that I've been doing for a few years that we've picked up on. And also, I was going to tell you something else. Oh, so we grew our own popcorn, and this is what we have left of it. This was full, but I eat a lot more popcorn than Tim does, but this is ours. This is ours. We grew it, and it is organic, and it is good. And you grow it just like you do corn, like peaches and cream corn. Well, but here's the thing. You can't plant your table corn or your peaches and cream or whatever you eat. You cannot plant with the popcorn because they'll cross-pollinate, and then you don't know what you're going to get. So one year we did this a couple years ago, and then the next year we did corn, peaches and cream, and then the next year we did this year, which was this year, we did peaches and cream again. Now next year, depending on how much I get in a jar, because I've got it all froze out of the garden, and this is from this was this year. Have we already ate all those? Oh, this was this year. I made these from last year's corn. Okay. So I have one jar left of corn. But depending on how many of these we get, I may ask Tim if we can do popcorn again. Just to have it, and just to have it, on your shelf. And I tell you what, I have a friend over on another channel. I'll try to mention him, or however they say do that, in your video. I think I can do that on here. I'm not sure. I know you can on TikTok. I get the two. Now I'm on both, and I get confused. But anyway, he was making this outside on a campfire, and it was the coolest thing, y'all. So you don't have to have a stove to make popcorn, and you definitely don't have to have a microwave. All right. And then another thing is I have, hold on. I didn't want this to be a long video, but it might be. I have this. I have one here, one over at the bread shed. And what it does is you take a jar, like any jar, any glass jar. Like this is a big mouth. So I would take this part off because this is for a small mouth. And then you put your lid on it. Let me put one on. We'll just put you can use used ones on these too, by the way. Put the lid on there. I just hit my mic. It probably made a loud noise in your ear. And then you hit this button. And it sucks all the air out of there. It gets all the air out of there. Then I have some packets that I put in. I don't know where they're at. We'll go ahead and do it, and then I'll show you. I can't open the lid. Then I'll put some dry packets that I buy in whatever that I got. Now here is some rice. I do rice. I do nuts. Now listen, why do I do all that? Because I find this stuff on sale. And listen, that's when you do it. When you find this stuff on sale at the store, okay, it hit 40. That's where I usually go, is 40. Now, this is on. That is on there. I'll have to get a thing to pry that off of there. That sucked all the air. There's no air in that jar now. You need to invest in one of these. You can preserve a lot of food. That's how I do all my dried stuff. These are, what are these apples? I can't see apples. I did hash browns. I did all kinds of stuff, y'all. Now you have to dehydrate your hash browns first before you put them in there, obviously. You got to dehydrate this stuff first. And that's how I store it. And I use this, and there's no air it gets in there. What was I just telling y'all, though? I was telling you something about oh, I don't remember. I got rabbit trailed. I shouldn't have did that. But anyway, that's why I do that. I buy it on sale. That's where I was going with that. I'm telling you about that. We have a fruit stand up north from us, and we buy a lot of fruit when their fruit's on sale, and I do stuff with it. If I'm not freezing it, I'm doing other stuff. Now I just bought a 30 or 40 pound box of Gala apples, and I have made let me see, I'm just going to show you 11 of these applesauce. I made the little chunkier applesauce this time because Tim don't like the pureed. I do. I love the pureed, but I want him to eat it too, so I made a little chunkier for him. It kind of tastes like fried apples in a jar, if you like fried apples. Then I made, like, I think 12 of these not these. Those are from last year. Apple butter. I got this one a little darker than this one this year. This is more old-fashioned than this. Yeah, it's a little darker. So I've got a bunch of these, and then I made 8 or 9 of these, and that's apple pie filling. Okay, that's what I got out of that 30 or 40 pound bushel. It's a bushel. What is a bushel? So 40 pound, 30 pound? I don't know. Anyways, that's what it was. We got them on sale for $30. I got that whole thing of apples for $30. So my back was hurt. And I hurt my back last week. And so I'm getting around better, but I really probably had no business canning all that stuff and doing all that. But I can't let stuff like that go by, because that's saving money in our pocket. Okay, you hearing me? You got to save money. You got to stay out of the stores. You got to stay home, and you got to save money. Okay, that is how you keep going, and you that's how you get out of debt too, and that's how you keep things going. All right, so I hope all this helped you. I hope it helped you in some way, shape, or form. Okay, now I did bring my Bible in here because I want to share something with y'all, but I can tell you all day long how to do this kind of stuff, and I'll help you. You can text me, message me, whatever you want to do. I'll help you any way I can. But this verse come to my mind, Matthew 4:4. You might already know it, but this is the truth. This is where the Holy Spirit led Jesus into the wilderness, right, for 40 days so he could be tempted by the devil. And so the devil tells him, he says, if you are the Son of God, command that these stones become bread. And Jesus said, man shall not live on bread alone. First he said, it is written. It is written. It is written. Man shall not live on bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Okay? So this is going to keep you physically going, but this is more important, and it's going to keep you spiritually going. All right? So get in the Word, y'all. Get in the Word. And this trumps all this. So make sure you got one of these around, would you? All right? Because I love y'all. I care for you. I love you. And if I didn't, I wouldn't be on here doing it. It's a lot of work to do these videos, especially when you don't feel good or you got stuff going on or you're busy or whatever. And I'm not complaining because I love doing it and I love sharing things. And I probably love, there's no doubt that I love sharing the Word of God more than I love sharing anything. But we do have to know how to do some of this stuff while we're down here, right? We got to know how to do this stuff. And I think that the closer the time of the Lord coming, and no man knows what day that's going to be, what hour that's going to be. All right? We don't know. But I think the closer to time it gets to Jesus coming back, y'all, and I do believe it. I believe that he is coming back. I know he is. Then things are going to get rough. And I think things are already getting rough in our world here. I really do. I think things are we're going to see a lot of changes. There's already been a lot of changes, and I think we're going to see a lot more. And I think you're going to be sad one day if you can't get to the store, you don't have, but if you had something like this on the shelf. And listen, I understand when you get a certain age, I'm not talking to people, because my mom don't do this anymore. My mother-in-law doesn't do this anymore. And if, Lord willing, I make it to their age, I won't be doing this anymore. I'm going to probably, I'm going to have to go to the store. But if there isn't a store, your families are going to have to come together. I do believe that eventually it's going to come to that. Your families, it's going to be like back in the day. You're going to have to pull together, and you're going to have to barter with one another. If your neighbor has something that you need, and you have something that they need, you're going to barter. You're going to exchange those things, because that's going to be better than money, because you don't have any money, right? I do think it's going to go back to that. I really do. And I don't know if I'll see it in my lifetime, but I think eventually it's going to go back to that. And I don't mean that because I'm really old, but I mean, I may not be here tomorrow, y'all. I may not be here 10 minutes from now. Okay? But just like with everybody, you know, in this world. But to be prepared, there's nothing wrong to be prepared. They've done it for centuries, you know, and they live on this. And you got to turn this over. You got to eat it. You got to eat it. I've heard people say, oh, that stuff will last forever on the shelf. Yeah, well, maybe. But the quality of the food in that jar is not, it's best within the first year. And there's a reason for that. Because then when the garden time comes again and harvesting your animals, that time comes again, right? You're going to replenish it with that. And this is all going to be ate. And all this is not going to go to waste. You don't want this. I don't want this to go to waste at all. You know, and like having the staples, if you do live in the country, and even if you live in the city, find out from your city administrators and stuff, how many chickens can I have? Most towns won't let you have roosters because they're loud. But you don't need a rooster to have eggs. You don't have to have a rooster because chickens lay eggs regardless. So ask them, how many chickens can I have? How many rabbits can I have? You know, and just remember, though, you got to take care of them and you got to feed them. But in the long run, you're getting better food, better quality food, better food. You've got your staples as long as you can afford your food to feed them. You know, and I don't know how long that, you know, we're to the point where we're free ranging our chickens again, because they need those bugs and the different things that they gather out there. They need that stuff. They don't need to be, you know, but when our garden's going, they have to stay in the chicken coop, and they've got a big yard. but we have to give them a little more food because they're locked up in there. You see what I'm saying? So it may come a day where they have to free range all the time, and we just have to stand guard at the garden. I don't know. I don't know. And that may be with a lot of things, your goats and stuff, Lord willing, I'll catch y'all on the next video.